Welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. My name is Anna, and I am Executive Director at Materially. Materially is a consulting company working on material innovation. We facilitate the connection between materials manufacturers and materials users, and we have an exhibition here at Super Studio Pew this year called Wonder Matters. Guests of Wonder Matters are three very known companies. Covestro on my left, the Good Plastic Company, and Polypore, a division of Asahi Kasei, that will tell us now a little bit more about the materials they are exhibiting here, all of them concerning a good way of considering plastic. So I'm having as guest and first speaker Mr. Masa Ivano from Polypore, Victoria Sidova, right, from the Good Plastic Company, and then Christian Fossik, Joan Miquel Garcia, and Christopher Stillings from Covestro. I will leave the microphone and the word and the control over the presentation to Masa-san, so to explain his material.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Can I stand?
Sure.
So thank you very much. I'm very happy to talk today to introduce our company and the materials. So let me start to how to? I pushed already? Yeah. Okay. So let me have a little bit time to talk about the recipe guide and the company. As Anna introduced me, my name is Masa Iwano. I'm working for the Polypore, the business development director of the materials. The Polypore is the group company of the Asahi Kasei. Asahi Kasei is the multinational company in Japan, a big company, and the Polypore is located in US. So US-based company, but owner is Asahi Kasei. The Asahi Kasei has a lot of materials, and as well as they are building homes and buildings, and also the healthcare business they have. So very big conglomerate, but the Polypore is a very small, tiny part of the Asahi Kasei. So this time, to come here, okay. This time I want to introduce our product recipe guide. That is kind of the representative of one of the Asahi Kasei materials. This is the 100% pure polypropylene made of the methodology of the production is the totally dry process. That means we don't use any solvent, we don't add anything, we don't deduct anything. So this is 100% pure polypropylene. That could be very easy for recycle, as it is, but as application, they will be combined with other materials. So the real recyclability will be depending on the combination materials. But the feature of this product is the totally hydrophobic nature cannot allow get into the water inside. But because of the high porosity, like the 80% of the porosity, 80% is air, it is very easy to pass through the airs or the vapors. So it is very easy, understandable application is outdoor wear. That is the primary application, we think. But we are coming here this time is to get various ideas from various designers or architect persons to get the applications or how to utilize the 100% polypropylene material with 80% of the porosity, which can prevent water get inside, but it is reusable, how to utilize those kind of features to the applications. So one of the as you can see from the video, the outdoor equipment, outdoor wear is very easily can understand, but we'd like to consider more widely for the other applications as well. Then one of the very good thinking we got here since this week we presented there, the various designers are coming and they are very curiously give us the questions. What does it mean of the 100% polypropylene, or how to make it for the dry process? What does it mean? So those kind of questions are very, how to say, new, or sometimes very good inspiration giving to me and many people. I'm asking them, please try to develop or some ideas to how to utilize these kind of performances to other applications or to whatever other applications. So this time I really want everyone to ask, please remember the name of RespiGuard. This is new one for us. We just released last year to the market. So this is the video is now showing the ISPO last year. That is our first time. But the RespiGuard is very new. And we really want everyone remember the name of RespiGuard as well as the Polypore and Asahi Kasei. Thank you. Very short, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Masa-san. Thank you. You already, no, they have the microphone. You can keep it and give it then to Victoria. You already highlighted a few interesting topics that we will highlight later through some questions. No, that's great. Can I have no, this one, the control. I will pass it to Covestro team, who will now introduce the few innovations that they are presenting this year.
Yeah, thank you, Anna, and good afternoon to everybody. My name is Christopher. As Anna introduced myself, I'm responsible for color and design. And if we look at the program of today and the title of the new good polymers, we believe that a good polymer is not a good polymer on its own, but it also needs to always be put into a context, into a meaning, and to an application. So that's our starting point. And in terms of the context, this is the Covestro context that I would just shortly introduce to you, that you know what we are about. So Covestro is one of the leading producers of polymers and plastics and raw materials for the industry. We had around 18 billion sales in 2022. We have a lot of people working globally on 50 sites, and we are investing a lot our expertise, but also money in terms of research and development and innovation. And we believe obviously that plastics, depending on the application, can really generate a value. You can see here also that we set ourselves in order to become better also in what we do and also in terms of our products, some very demanding and challenging targets in terms of fully circular becoming by 2050 and climate neutral by 2035. We believe that is already something to make polymers better. We do approach it with 4 big levers, so to say, that is using renewable energy in all what we do in terms of production. We also use alternative raw materials for our products that are not based on the petrochemical backbone. And we also invest and make research in innovative recycling technologies when you look at the end of life of the usage of the plastics and polymers. And of course, more important, and that's also why we are very happy to be here at the Design Week Milano, and in particular also with Materially and many other partners here, is about cross-industry collaboration. This complex thing there towards circular economy can only be tackled and solved together. And what comes out of this is a portfolio that is based on products that have a better sustainability aspect, and that's what we call CQ, Circular Intelligence Portfolio. That's what we want to provide to the designers, And why the designers are so important for us is because up to 80% of the CO2 footprint of a resulting usage of the plastics is actually depending on the first step, the material selection. And obviously the designer in a very early phase is in the inspirational phase one of the decision makers in terms of making that material selection. And here we have to talk, obviously. That's what we're doing here, and that's why we are here. And yeah, I'm not sure, can you move to the...
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and talking with each other is of course something sometimes difficult in terms of background and expertise. Looking at the left, we come from a very performance and material fact-based topic. Masa-san just mentioned a lot of questions coming from the creative industry to us. We need to exchange and we need to somehow meet each other, and we can benefit from each other in our belief, because as I mentioned, there are facts and designers have the ability to put our materials into a context and giving it a meaning, and that is exactly what we are looking for, and of course vice versa, giving us inputs of where do we need to further improve to become better and make better polymers as well. Yeah, what do we bring to the table basically is that we believe that our materials can add a lot of value in terms of aesthetic design, in terms of functional design, and more, as I just showed, in terms of circular design. And the good balance, that is the essential part, and obviously that depends in terms of the application and the long-lasting life that is somehow also embedded in the material choice and in the functionality of the material, making materials robust and their applications robust, long-lasting, and being able to use as less materials as possible for each of the applications. And yes, there is 3 examples that we brought to the material exhibition. One of that comes out of the polycarbonates area, as a thermoplastic, and here a part of the already mentioned biomass balanced approach and recycled approach in our materials. We also think about how can we communicate that these materials are more sustainable. So the aesthetics of recycled materials is a big topic, and also digitalization of sampling of the materials for the designers in order to come back to the point, use as less materials as possible. And I would like to hand over now to my colleague Rumi, who...
Yeah, I will give you a few words about Arfinio. Basically, Arfinio is a new developed material, which is an alternative to solid surface, and the development had in mind sustainability from its inception. So the material is very light, and the reason why it's very light is that we know that the best way to reduce the carbon footprint of a product is basically reduce the amount of product you use to produce the pieces. Then the material can be repaired, extending lifetime as much as possible, and at the third stage, when you reach end of life, you can get it back, mill it, and use this dust to replace mineral in the formulation to produce another piece. And I would also like to highlight that this was not developed only by Covestro. This was developed in a partnership with an injection molding company named Arceso Dynamics. And this is very important because only with this combination of different expertises, we were able to, for the first time in many decades after we believed it was impossible, to reaction injection mold an aliphatic polyurethane system. But it's also important because we firmly believe that circularity is a team sport. You cannot do circularity alone. You really need to establish partnerships. And well, that's why we're here, to extend these partnerships to the design community.
Thank you. Yeah, partnerships and collaboration also fits quite well to the next example we would like to show on the next slide. Yeah, thank you. There I would like to talk about TPU. TPU is a quite versatile material, a kind of versatile polymer, from hard to rigid to soft to elastic, which makes it a quite interesting material for designers as well. And here you can see like one collaboration we are currently doing with Freitag. Freitag is a Swiss bag manufacturer. Perhaps many of you know these recycled bags out of truck tarp. And Freitag initiated this project to make their bags more sustainable and more circular. So they invited the full value chain on a round table and asked everyone to collaborate. So joint solutions are also a great example here. Truck tarp is normally produced out of PVC material, but PVC material is not so sustainable and not so easy to recycle. That's why TPU is quite an interesting alternative here. So currently we are running like a pilot project, having a truck on the street with a TPU truck tarp. Afterwards, Freitag is producing bags out of this truck tarp, and then at the end of the life of the bags, we as Covestro are taking back the bags to recycle and to make new TPU out of it. So this is like a really good example for a cradle-to-cradle closed loop approach, which we are now currently trying, testing with Freitag and many more partners. And as you said before, here joint solutions, collaboration is key, because otherwise it would be nearly impossible to transform a business and also a business model in the end.
Thank you very much to Covestro team and also to Polypore. We've seen now two approaches from very big corporations that are tackling the plastic, let's say the good plastic issue in a very, let's say, industrial way with the big numbers and with a corporate prospect. But when it comes to good plastic, we also have a new example of a small but super interesting company which has the name Good Plastic inside, which is the Good Plastic company, and they propose a material that's called Polygood. So I will ask Victoria to explain a little bit more about Polygood.
Thank you, Anna. Oh, it's still your presentation. Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Victoria. I'm operations director and co-founder in the Good Plastic company. So we are manufacturers of surface materials which are made from 100% recycled and recyclable plastic. So currently we produce the largest size of the panel, which is made from recycled plastic in the world. It's 2.4 by 2.8 by 1.4 meter size, and we focused on scalable solutions. As you said, we're currently small, but we are working, as we don't believe that you can make an impact if you produce something small or if you produce in some limited amount. Like sustainable materials tend to be like of a limited quality, of not available quantity, quality, anything. So, and we focused ourselves to create, firstly, sustainable material. So we produce from recycled plastic. We create circular material because it's possible to recycle it again in the end of its lifespan. We focused on create. I liked your slide with functional, aesthetical. It just connotates with what we're thinking about. So material which will be of a good quality, so it could give us many options how we can apply it, where we can use it, and that designers and fabricators in the end can easily work with it, and aesthetical, that is appealing to us to use it everywhere. What we currently do is we don't add anything inside of our materials, so it's purely plastic, and this is how we remain them circular in the, like, as a circular economy. We are working with large recycling centers who are able to supply us with a stable quality and repeatable colors, and the design industry is very important that when its material is specified, color remains the same. And this is a problem with sustainable materials because they can't really provide this. So while there is a huge demand from clients to implement, to make design sustainable, there is no really good solutions how really to do this, because then you need to change the whole concept, and fabricator can't really work with material, or you have long delays in your projects which cost like budget increase, which clients are not able to handle, and they say, okay, maybe not today. We want to be sustainable, but let's look at it, what is going to be in 5 years. And this is how we are currently already able to to secure. So we are producing now with on 50,000 square meters per year. It's our production capacity. It's huge. For example, one store, it could be 200 square meters. We can produce it within a couple of days and deliver it the same. And what is also additional value of the materials that as a background we have a story behind of each pattern. So it's not just a beautiful picture, but for example, this one is made from tubes which are used in elements of tobacco filters in production, and single-use cutlery inside. It was forbidden in Europe for production, and the leftovers which stayed producers were recycled again. Or this, for example, the pattern, it was created with our own waste of CNC shavings. When we cut the material, we have these offcuts, and we implemented them in the pattern. We have a range of them. And here we bring not only a tick in a checklist that it's sustainable, but we also bring a story, because now, like we yesterday also participated in one panel discussion, and everybody telling that it's also lack of communication and information that people can get about products which exist regarding the impact they do. And we also need to communicate, like we work with, just an example, with Nike, like you can see the picture in retail. We built more than 15 stores with them, each of them utilized up to 3 tons of plastic. They already made a huge impact, and nobody knows because they're not really communicating about it. So our goal is to communicate, is to bring value, and to continue grow the scale, because without the scale there is no impact. So this is examples where our materials could be used. So we work mainly with retail clients currently, as they want to be the first movers. They can implement something new the first. We work with Nike, with Adidas, Lush, Karl Lagerfeld in Milan, a beautiful store where our materials were implemented. It could be produced with different kinds of podiums, shelves, reception desks, countertops. Plastic is good material, it's durable, it's water resistant, so it could be used in washrooms as vanity sinks or as a wall tiling. And as it's durable and stable, we make all of our materials from polystyrene, as it's structural material, it's hard, so you don't need the wooden support. Because when we talk about sustainability, it's not only about, okay, we buy recycled plastic material and then we glue it to the MDF and then we glue it to the wall and we create sustainable project. So with our material, it's possible to create also sustainable construction without using any other materials. So this is how.
Thank you, Victoria. Yeah, you're right that it is super important that scalability, of course, of a material solution. So you may have invent some type of new fancy type of even sustainable material, but then if your manufacturing capability is very low, the impact that you can make is the same, very, very low. So we've been witnessing in these last years as materially a lot of startups that started making recycled plastic boards, but to our understanding, you are the ones that managed to make it industrially viable and available with certain quantities that can be implemented in a line of stores, as you said, and of different materials. We've had a lot of interesting topics coming out from this conversation. Typically, one interesting thing I would like maybe Masa-san to elaborate a little bit more is monomaterial. Before you mentioned the fact that you having a polypropylene membrane can fit to combination with other polypropylene materials. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, thank you very much. As I explained, our recipe guard, can you remember the name? The recipe guard is made of 100% polypropylene. That is the function for the water, the stop to enter the water, but the breathable. That kind of function was other technologies also available to achieve the same function, like polyurethane or the PTFE. So since recent, very concern for the environment, things going on, the more, recyclable or mono-material to be used for the next stage is very important. Then our material is one of the contribution, not to add any additional coatings, additional functions, but itself has the function. So, but unfortunately that is very thin, 18 micron or 15 micron, something like that. And the 80% of the air is very light, very good, the feeling of texture, but weak in the strength of the itself, the physical strength. So in order to support, we need to have some combination, the supporting materials. Like if we use the PP material, PP fabrics, that is 100% PP, so it is easy for recycle. Then the other material is actually maybe for the outdoor wear application, maybe nylon or polyester, those kind of things will be applied. But in the next step, I strongly believe the all one materials world will come. So that is one of the concern for the recyclability, but also it is important to consider not only recycle. Sometimes the recycle is very cost. So like the recent lithium-ion batteries are going more and more to the car electrification, but people are starting to talk about how to recycle or reuse the raw materials, but that is very much the cost. So recycle is not only the way, but reuse or remanufacturing to the other purpose. That is, I could have the image of the two other companies they're talking about it. So even mono PP can be recyclable with other combination that could be utilized for the reusable or application, or like your application, the table or whatever things. Those kind of things are very important, I think. So we don't want to limit the mono material. That is the very good point, but that is the kind of the one of the reasons I want to invite many ideas from the designers or architects or whatever the people, they think of how to utilize the function and what is the next step. That is the kind of the current, my thinking, my personal approach.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, another topic that you mentioned in your answer concerns durability. So the ability, and I would like to pass this hint to Covestro friends to tell a little bit more on how, we think of plastic as a sort of everyday and maybe cheap material, but plastics can also be extremely durable and extremely positive to reduce the environmental impact in a long-term perspective. So some of the materials that you have here can also be a good example of this.
Yeah, I think pretty much all the materials, I guess, because I mean, take for instance polycarbonate. It's pretty famous for its impact strength and its structural part behavior in terms of thermostability as well and form stability. And yeah, it's not a cheap plastic. It's actually in consideration of others rather on a higher level of price. But if you put it in the right context, in the right application, it really pays off, and it gives, exactly as you mentioned, this longevity of the products with a very nice and beautiful aesthetic value as well, because you can play with the transparency, you can play with the colors obviously, and with the textures. And not only the material stability, I believe, is part of determining the long life of such a product, but it should be cool, it should be beautiful. And nevertheless, although you think about a long life of a product, for instance in the cars or in electronics housing or something like that, you need to think about end of life. And the beauty of many of our materials, and in this case all the 3 examples that we brought, they are recyclable, they are even mechanical recyclable, and that makes it also long lasting in terms of the material. But I also believe when it comes to recycling, you have to think in different layers, starting actually with the molecule, and then going over to the recipe, to the component, and to the product as such. And that is fun, and that gives a lot of opportunities with that material. But I'm sure the colleagues can add to the long-lasting.
Yeah, I would say escaping a little bit the discussion of our products, and I will go back there. One thing we criticize about plastics is that they take 400, 500 years to degrade, which basically means that you could use them for probably 200 years without problem, right? And that brings the discussion to the point of usage. I mean, if you take something which could last 300 years, use it for 10 minutes in a mill, and then throw it away, there's a problem in election of material, there's a problem in usage of material, and there's other layers that we should discuss rather than exclusively the material itself. Then, of course, when we develop these new generations of polymers or new generations of materials, we really take into account durability. Because as much as I mentioned that in the case of Arfinio, reducing weight, so reducing the density of material is a lever to reduce the CO2 footprint of the material, I mean, how long will you be able to use the material is another lever for that. And of course, then it comes recyclability. But I would say these things need to come at the right order. First of all, using as less as possible of the right material for the right application. A good example of that is that we've been approached by people, I mean, Arfinio is reaction injection molded, asking us, I mean, can you rim reaction injection mold around LEDs so that then we can backlit the material and the LEDs are inside, not visible anywhere? And yeah, of course we can do that, but then if one is gone and you need to repair, how would you do that? And after recycling, or when you want to recycle, how would you do that? So we refuse, and we will refuse any project which is not considering disposal from inception, because it makes no sense. We are not at that time in history, and we can just do things and problems will solve alone in the future.
Super interesting perspective, right? The usage. And I would ask Victoria, you mentioned before that you are making projects with several companies, and that you have also a very quick response, let's say, to the demands. How much is it is important, in your opinion, to be responsive to your customer requests, to be able to implement a material like yours?
What do you mean? You're talking about application? Or?
No, I mean that you are very flexible in terms of production, and you said that you can produce batches of materials like a few days. Mm-hmm. Is that something that, I mean, being so, let's say, flexible in production and is quick to response, is that something that you feel it is important for your material to be successful?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this comes from the demand of architects and designers, because usually they work in tight deadlines. That is why we need to react quickly. And any new material which is created, and if it's not available in regions, if you can deliver it quickly, it cannot grow, it cannot give us scalability for the product. This is why we try to be flexible. We are not flexible in terms of if somebody comes to us, oh, can we put something inside of your material? I don't know, we have some waste which is different types, and can you put it just inside because we want a beautiful panel? Like, this is not where we are flexible. So we are flexible in service, but not in materials. Or when, for example, it comes to choosing the type of plastic we work with. We tested many materials and we come to polystyrene because it was important to have a good quality. Then next stages of material processing are also comfortable and possible to work with it. So.
And you mentioned sometimes that you also have some take-back policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do take back. We started it like last year. So what is actually done, like as you said, it could be used for 200 years. Our material, before it was some refrigerators, household things. You don't buy refrigerator for 5 minutes, you buy it for 10 years. So the same, or even more, the same durability applies to our materials. It could be long-lasting. And we can recycle it up to 5 or 6 times. And it could be like 40, 60 years when it saves its characteristics as it is as a panel. And we can take back our materials and we can recycle them again in the panel, so produce new material, or as we work only with one type of plastic and we communicate this to our clients. For example, if we have a project in Korea and we ship there, and then like it will be not really sustainable to ship it back to Europe to recycle, they can just find local recycling center which accept polystyrene and they can recycle it.
Okay, no, that's interesting. It's also an example of collaboration, okay, no, with other entities and other corporations. So you actually have mentioned design a lot of times. So I would like to ask you, starting from Masa-san, the role of design, in your opinion, to help sustainability, I would say in general, and also to have ideas for apply and to promote more sustainable materials.
Yeah, okay. As Asahi Kasei or Polypore, we are material supplier. So practically our customer is like B2B process. So they're making some products for next step, and our customer will make the product for the next step until the end user. So those kind of value chain is still not short in these industries, but it is important for us to know what each step is important, what they are thinking, what they want to aim. So like collaboration, everyone said in the past. So one of the points, we are even material supplier. We want to know all the people in between until the end. And we need to know what the design concept, what the aim of the purpose of using our materials until up to the end. Then that will make possible to recycle to back to us, or reuse for the other application, or remanufacturing for the other products. So that is the concept or point we need to know. Even not our direct customers, we want to collaborate, we want to talk a lot, we want to invite the opinion, we want to invite the ideas. So even just breathable membrane, what does it mean, microporous membrane? But that can be possibly widely applied to the industries, not for the individual product maybe, but for the cars or buildings, or even like the electric, circuit appliances, and some ventilation is important, not coming the water, but going through the inside air to ventilate the heat or something like that. Those kind of things, we really want to be involved. That is one of the Asahi Kasei's, the marketing people is aiming at this moment.
Okay, no, thank you very much. No, I understand that your material is in the, let's say, ideal supply chain is at the very, very beginning, and then there is another manufacturer, and also at the very end. But yeah, I guess that you can reverse, let's say, the process by introducing design principles in that, and also involving designers in your process.
Yeah, the pull in, push, whatever the wording available. But anyway, so the total involvement or understanding of the total process of the value chains, who wants to do what, that is very important, we think. At least I personally think.
Great. And I would like to ask the Covestro people, what do you feel the role of design is particularly for sustainability? Because you mentioned before that, the material is important, but also, or I would say mostly, the way the material is used. Okay, not just there is a matter of material selection, so choosing the right material for the right purpose, and then there is a matter of creating intelligent objects. So will you please, the example that you were mentioning before is super interesting, the Freitag, for instance.
Design for recyclability is quite important here. So when you start with the material selections, you really need to think the full life cycle of a product, so how this will be returned after use, and then how new products will be made out of it. That's why I think the material choice is more and more important, and the requirements for materials are also increasing. So when it comes to a monomaterial design, the material needs to be flexible but needs to be durable. And this is quite crucial here. And for TPU, for example, we have a nice collaboration with some footwear companies when it comes to a monomaterial sneaker, because currently, for example, many designers are using lots of different materials for just a single sneaker. And when you want to return the sneaker, it's really impossible to have it in the different components. So here, when you just use one material, it's much easier to recycle the sneaker in the end and to return it. But here, as you said before, I think the value streams are a big challenge, and also like the waste streams, because currently they are not quite clean and clear, so it's quite difficult to differentiate the different materials and then to recycle it in the end. So these are currently also challenges we are facing, and then to return a material and make new materials out of it, so new raw materials. That should be like the goal in the end.
Yeah, I also would like Joan to, you already mentioned before the fact that you refused to put the LEDs inside the material because that would be stupid design, basically, right?
Well, I believe that we need to incorporate sustainability to many of the things that we calculate when we look at goods. Let's say everyone looks at a car and understands, or the most of people understands, that there is a total cost of ownership which goes beyond what the car costs. There's insurance, there's many other things that you need to consider to understand the cost of it, and I believe we need to incorporate sustainability to it. There's a sustainability cost or an impact into the environment for everything we do and every material, and we do believe that if we don't consider disposal and recyclability from the inception, from design, then it makes no sense to go on with the project. That's why, for us it's really straightforward. This project was born with sustainability in the forefront, and we won't take any project which is not really aligned with what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's right. And also you have, you are exhibiting an example of application of Arfinio at Wonder Matters, which is a chair that is basically made out of 3 elements, and that's it, right?
Yeah, it's only Arfinio for the sitting, pure natural oak for the base, and then stainless steel to connect. And the whole idea with it is that we need to really thoroughly consider what we use for application, and also that there's a possibility to do things differently. So the idea of Arfinio in the end is the idea to offer another solution. So sometimes I've been asked, so do you want to have the whole world made of Arfinio? And the answer is no, because basically we want it to be where it makes sense. So we need to use each material in the place where it makes sense, not just trying to push them. And this is also a change of paradigm. You shouldn't really push something where it's not fitting and do your best just to sell an additional ton. It's really, and we need to incorporate designers for that. It's really a dialogue, and we need to find which is the best solution considering all these aspects.
Thank you. Victoria, besides when we are talking about design, you brought to the exhibition a series of stools that were made with your material, and they were basically, you told us, homemade design, but they are super interesting. Can you tell us how they were created?
To be honest, it's like a story. It should be some great storytelling behind. Like we cooperated with some famous designer, but it's really on our production. We just have seen a guy with a good imagination who created this chair. This is a simple story behind. We wanted to collaborate with Materially to be visible, but I don't know, like to create installation. Like we are not designers in our background, and we wanted to do something practical. So we come to this chair and to tabletops. We just represent the material on the exhibition. I like that chairs. They not only have a good design, but also it has good application. So you see that it's strong material. It's made only from one material. We don't use.
Notice that there is nothing, no glues, no screws, nothing. It's just like joints. So your material has been cut and then joined together, not to use any other type of materials, right?
Exactly. Like I love the phrase, like the most sustainable building or product is the one which were never produced. So but as all people tend to get something new all the time, they want to create. The nature of people is to live in something new. It's impossible, and the economy will work only when something is created. So we need to be conscious when we create things. We need to think how we can make it like less materials, how we can make the construction of the product possible to disassemble it after, to recycle it again, to use it the way that we use less materials and less connections. That it could be like many, like with Nike, for example, working for the project, the whole store was made only with mechanical connections. So it was no glue or screws used. So after the end of the life, they will send it us back and we will recycle it. So this is...
No, use them or sell them. Do not recycle them. They are so nice. Can I buy a couple of them, by the way? No, that's, thank you very much. Only one last question, since we have a few minutes left, is about maybe intangible characteristics of your materials, and particularly things like look and feel, comfort, particularly in the case of Polypore material, of Respigard. These are, and also some aesthetics or touch, like in the case of Arfinio, or the content of the branding, like in the case of your collaboration with Freitag. All these, let's say, intangible aspects of materials are important, in my opinion, also to somehow to convey the sustainability somehow. So can you maybe tell us a little bit more how the comfort, how your material helps with on that side?
Yeah, actually, always I feel when I talk with our, not only customers, but some value chains, other people, they are satisfied with current products. Then if they want to have the new product, they want to have better one. So the better is always the questionable. If we use more like in case of the outerwear jacket, if we put the fluorinated carbon on the surface, that can be perfect water repellency. but that is bad for the environment. So how to say, it is very difficult to express the feeling, but one of the reasons I said the value chain, we need to know all the want to be involved, all the steps, means the people needs to understand what is the level they can satisfy or they need to agree to have if the case we need to sacrifice some previous performances by using the new technologies. So that new technologies are better for the environment, for the globe, the system, that should be balanced with other point. So again, a little bit back to the things, I still think it is important to deliver the message or try to share the reality with users or people. What is the actual need we need? Not too much, not they stick to the previous specifications.
I understand.
That's other things, yeah.
Yeah, it's if I understood correctly, you're saying that there should be some sort of trade-off between,
Thank you. Trade-off is the better word.
Okay, but I must say that current so-called sustainable materials today, there is no trade-off. They are as good as the other ones. In the past, we could say that the quality was maybe low, but now I have the feeling that
I agree, yeah.
There are various ways of looking, especially at plastics, in let's say more intelligent and sustainable way, without the need of trading off. No way. So,
yeah,
and your material is an example. I mean, you have the same performance, but the material is made in a way that it is less impacting to the environment.
As we talked, we need to use less materials as much as possible. Less materials needs sometimes the break-even point to think about the performance and the environment. So that is the meaning I really want to say. Current product may be good for the current status, but for future further improvement, for the further contribution to the environment, maybe we need to break through more points that we need to understand all, not only the material supplier or manufacturers, but all the people needs to have the similar understandings to the products, not now for the future. That is the current my fear, because our materials starting from the technology for the lithium-ion battery separator. Now it is crazy world. All cars are getting into the electrification. So everyone is believing, electric car is very good for the environment. But that's not the reality. One car needs to be 2 times more carbon dioxide make of the combustion engine car. So it needs to more than like 100,000 kilometers running, try to be the compensation start. But anyway, so those kind of understanding is no one knows.
You are opening a door here,
sorry.
you know?
Yeah, but that is the kind of the industrial understanding is not always correct. So sometimes we need to break through the things. So the plastic is really, really sometimes people talk, plastic is bad things, but I don't think so. The plastic is the one we can stay with better usage, less usage, or remanufacturing. That is the point. So sorry, I don't know what I'm talking now.
Yeah.
But
No,
for the future
that's
things.
correct. I mean, you are breaking a lot of glasses.
That is the
But I totally understand your point. So I will have our friends from Covestro to close the conversation with some comments on that.
Yeah, I think not breaking glasses, but really opening doors. And thanks for the points. I couldn't agree more, actually, because of course there is a topic in terms of comfort, of understanding and feeling comfortable, and that already hints to emotions. And I think that is again coming back to your earlier question, so important to incorporate that in the applications and in the material, because the end consumer is an essential key to any implementation or realization of a circular economy, because it's about the usage, and these persons also need to feel comfortable in having a great product, and that comes back to several points. Understanding the facts, yeah, we started the conversation with that, but also believing in a good meaning of the material regarding sustainability, and on the very end it needs to be a super cool, inspiring product as well, and that is also why the symbiosis between the material and design is so essential to be successful in that area, and why we need that dialogue, in my opinion.
Great. So, we are almost at the end, so if there is anyone with some questions that would like to know a little bit more or to have questions for our guests. Okay, so thank you very much for being here and for following us, and thank you also to our speakers here that helped us, let's say, unveiling some aspects of plastic that are less commonly discussed, I would say. And we invite you to visit our exhibition Wonder Matters here at Super Studio, and thank you very much again for being with us.